Hello once again, welcome to my channel. If today is your first time, I say a very big welcome to you. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't and hit the notification button. Today we are making bread. I'm going to use one base type to make two different types of bread. Now here I have in my bowl 2.5 kg of hard flour. I have grated in some nutmeg. I am putting 10 tablespoons of sugar, and I would add my salt, mix together, and finally add my yeast. Now I mix my dry ingredients before I add my yeast because yeast, when it comes into direct contact with salt, will lose its potency. So it is better to give these ingredients some cushion before yeast is added. Now here I am mixing everything together now that I have my yeast added, to make sure that everything is gotten some cushion, if I would say. Now in bread making, you can use ordinary water or milk. Milk has protein that inhibits the gluten formation or enriches your bread. It breaks down the gluten. Now with my recipe here, I am going to add milk powder to the water you see and get my liquid milk to mix. You can see that I showed you a glass with a content, which is my yeast. I always save my yeast in a glass bowl to always have its potency accurate and not lost. Now this dough is a lot, and so I transfer it into my commercial mixer and go quickly grab my powdered milk, add it to my water before I come mixing. You can see I have added it beautifully to my water, and my dry ingredients are here in the bowl. I have 3 eggs to also help enrichen my bread. Beside me I have margarine. So we're going to use margarine as our fat content in our bread to make our bread soft. Okay, so here we go. We are going to add our milk to my dry ingredients. So I would pour in my milk and water. Crack in my eggs. Your eggs should be fresh, else you have to crack it in a bowl first to ensure your eggs have not gone bad. My eggs are still fresh, so you can see the egg whites are not watery. If your egg whites are watery, it means your eggs are not fresh. I add my eggs to ensure none of them have gone bad. I add it to my bread. And then I fit it to my machine and start kneading. My commercial mixer is quite heavy and you cannot put it on the table or a wet table, and so it is fitted on the floor. It's quite heavy. It's a 30-liter mixer, and so that's why you see it on the floor. Now we'll get mixing. Now, as you can see, the dough is formed. This is the time you add your fat or your oil if you're using. I'm going to use margarine, and so I'm going to add 250 grams of margarine to this. In 250, and continue kneading. You don't have to knead at high speed. Allow the dough to knead gradually. going to use parts of the bread dough to make raisin bread. And so here I have 50 grams of honey and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. I'm going to mix this together, and that's what I'm going to add to my bread dough with raisins to make my raisin bread. As you can see, my bread dough is not well kneaded yet, but I'm going to use part of this to make my raisin bread and the other type. So when it is partially kneaded like this, I will take part and add my honey and cinnamon powder with raisins and knead through till it is completely kneaded. Taking 1.2 kg of bread dough, partially kneaded bread dough from the mixer, and I'm going to add my raisins and honey with cinnamon to make my cinnamon bread. You can do this with a machine, or you can do it with your hand as I'm doing. My raisins, you can add as much as you want in your bread, and then you complete your kneading with it. You can do this by a machine. This is a demonstration to see how it goes. That's why I'm not doing it with a machine. I'm doing it with hand. But also, if you don't have a machine, you can still do it with your hands. Knead all the seeds in. If you feel they're not enough, you can add as much raisins as you want. Avoid using too much flour when you are kneading by hand. This can cause your bread to be puffed. Once it is well kneaded, it will stop sticking on your wet table and in your hands. I need more raisins. I'm adding a little bit of pineapple essence to my bread, my raisin bread, to enhance the sweetness of the raisins, and also because of the cinnamon. Cinnamon is a perfect combination with citrus. Pineapple is one of the citrus flavors, so I add that in and continue kneading. You can decide to chop up your raisins to make them in smaller and if they look too large. As you can see, it's getting well kneaded, and so it has stopped sticking on the table and it's not sticking as much as it was in my palms. This tells you that you are almost ready. I haven't used any flour whilst I was kneading at all. I haven't used any flour. Now you do your test to see. Once it stretches without tearing, this means that your dough is well kneaded. This is a well kneaded dough. Gluten has perfectly been formed. Can you see? It means that your bread would rise well and bake beautifully in the oven. So this is the test you need to do to ensure that your dough is well kneaded. So I'm letting my dough into this is 600 grams, this is 400, and this is 200 grams. And I'm going to put a 600 in this big loaf and 400 in the medium. This one I'm going to divide it into 3 and make them in rolls. So I shape them into loaves to the size, the length of my pan. Now I divide my 200 into 2 and make them into loaves. So our raisin bread loaves are ready. We wait to cook them for about an hour before we eat. The remaining of our bread, we added a bit more butter and butter flavor to it to make our butter. We're going to shape them into loaves as well. You can see the texture of this looks very different, more silkier than the raisin bread because this has more butter, so it is more enriched in fat than the first one. Look at the cross section of it. I am so sorry my camera messed up, but I have shaped the bread into loaves and rolls, and they have proven beautifully ready for the oven. As you can see, they are almost full to their pans. When it goes in the oven, it will bake beautifully. The first 15 minutes of baking the oven spring time, and so this will allow bread to proof further and start baking beautifully. So off to the oven, I'll be right back with beautifully baked rolls and loaves. Now, one of the loaves I decided to make an incision and put butter in the incision just to give it some extra flavor and crunch on the top. So we are going to the oven, and in the next 45 to an hour, we will be back with beautiful loaves to enjoy. The excitement! Ta-da! Our raisin bread is done. Now look, so soft, perfectly as we wanted it. Raisin bread full of flavor. And look at those raisins in there. So beautiful. Our butter bread is here. It baked to browning a bit. But here, the crunch is what we are talking about. These are so beautiful. Hey guys, what has come to mind? A cold drink or cold beverage or even a warm beverage? These are so lovely. I believe you have enjoyed today's video and you will give us any comments if you want. I'll be so happy to respond to them all. See you next time. Bye.